From Anshe Sfar Beth El Emeth Congregation, it's time to take 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of the final Showdown, Parshat Ki Tetze. The Torah More, the Spanish and Portuguese commentator, says that the discussion about building a new house and making sure you don't have a dangerous roof is actually an allusion to the final showdown. So I'd like to share with you some unusual stories about the end of days in Jewish tradition. So it says if you build a new house, you must build a fence on your roof or high places in case someone should fall. Ki pol hanofel. So the Torah More says, who's going to fall? In the end of days, who's going to fall? If you want to build the Beis HaMikdash, you want to build the ultimate temple, who has to fall first? Armilus Harasha, the wicked Armilus, who will be killed when the Mashiach comes. So what is this referring to? So if you look in some of the earliest sources, in the Targum Yonatan ben Uziel, it's technically an Aramaic translation of the Torah going back to Yonatan ben Uziel from the Talmudic Mishnaic days. Maybe it had some later authorship as well. In any event, in the translation of Isaiah, it says that with his lips, with the wind of his lips, he will kill the wicked man. This refers to Armilus Rishia, the wicked Armilus. Who is this? We look in the Targum Onkelos, the classic Aramaic translation, which does go back to Talmudic times, and we look in the end of the Torah, the last chapter, third verse, we also find an allusion to this killing of this great wicked Armilus. If we look in the Emunos Videos, Reb Sadia Gaon, he says that there'll be someone from the tribe of Joseph. He will gather a lot of the Jews together, and then he'll rule for a certain amount of time, and then someone named Armilus will fight against him. And then Joseph will be killed, among others, and then eventually the Mashiach will rise. The Yalkut Ruveni, an interesting Kabbalistic midrash, says that in the days of the Mashiach, he will be killed. So who is this Armilus? We look in some of the obscure midrashim. For instance, the Batei Midrashot collection of midrash has the Heichalot Rabati, the Heichalot literature, about if a person went into the heavens, what would they find out? So it speaks there about Zerubbabel was speaking to the various angels, and they told him that there was a improper marriage which led to the birth of Armilus, and he will be the head of all idolaters, and he will come half out of stone and half out of this wicked woman. So it almost sounds like some sort of mythological type of thing. In fact, some of the sources say that the Aruch, for instance, a Talmudic dictionary, from about the 10th century from Italy, he says that if you look under Armilus, he says, what's Armilus? Armilus is Romulus, from the early founders of Rome. And so there's an idea that at the end of days, there'll be a Roman figure. Again, it could be Western, it could be just a person who personifies evil. And in some sources, it goes a step further. It refers to it as a sort of like what the Gentiles will think is some sort of an antichrist kind of a figure. And this is very unusual, where the Jewish sources are referring to the thinking or the mythology within other religions, and they say that this figure, who others will think has a certain status, he will eventually be killed. There's a wonderful collection of midrash called the Beit Midrash, organized by his fellow Yalinek. And there's one midrash called the Midrash Vayosha. And he says they'll arise terrible, wicked king. He'll make a war with the Jews for 3 months, and his name is Armilus. And they have all kinds of signs of what he'll be. He'll be bald, and his one eye will be big, and one eye will be small. One hand will be big, one hand will be small. He'll have leprosy on his forehead. In other words, he'll be very brazen, like King Uzziah. And he will come to Jerusalem, and he will kill the Messiah, son of Joseph, and then later the Messiah will kill him, and the Mashiach ben David, the ultimate Messiah, will come, and he will destroy with the wind of his mouth. He will destroy this Romulus figure. Another collection of unusual midrashim. The starot of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. He says he will blow into the face of Armilus, the Mashiach will, and that will kill him, and then God will bring all the Jews to Jerusalem. There's a book called the Avkat Rochel, goes into even further detail. In other words, what is the final showdown? The final showdown is we must defeat evil in this world. What does the end of the parsha say? That it's an internal battle against Amalek, against the ultimate evil, radical evil, those who are bent on murder for murder's sake. And that's what Amalek is, and that's what this Armilus figure represents. Idolatry. What's idolatry? That there's no God, there's no morality. Everything's just sort of random. And at the end of days, there will be someone, the descendant of Joseph, who stands for uprightness and doing the right thing. And he will be battle with him. And ultimately there'll be the ultimate king of Israel, the Messiah, coming from the tribe of Judah, representing, standing up for virtue and morality, as Judah eventually did as he matured later in life. And ultimately, the Jewish people will prevail over the forces of evil. It's all alluded to in this week's parsha. It says, Ki yipol hanofel. If we build a proper house, if we want to build a Beit HaMikdash, we have to, yipol hanofel, we have to eradicate evil from this world. And this is an ancient tradition that there will be the ultimate showdown with evil. And hopefully, and with God's help, the Jewish people will prevail. Thank you for joining us here at the Anshe Sfar Beth Lameth congregation for a discussion of Romulus and more. Join us each week for a discussion from the holidays. And thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit asb.org.